After watching this video, you will stop making no contact mistakes that give you a false sense of influence in the moment, only to leave you feeling needy, emotionally small, and even more attached later. Also, you won't ruin your own chances in case something real still has a chance to survive. I've seen this many times, and I know how the pattern looks from both sides. And what looks like strength in relationships is often just a better organized defense. And what looks like healing is often only temporary relief. Love does not have to feel like waiting or like guessing or like emotional labor. This channel is about it, so subscribe if you are ready for a completely different experience of closeness. This video is about the mistakes people make with no contact and how those mistakes can turn what should be healing into pseudo-healing. Sometimes what feels like progress is just the relief of escaping a trigger. But that relief is not healing. It only keeps you from developing the skills and self-connection you actually need to build a real relationship. Ironically, the point of no contact is to develop the ability to stay in contact without losing yourself, being able to be separate without isolating yourself. But often what happens during no contact is just re-traumatization. If no contact becomes the point in itself, like proving to yourself you can do it, then it's no longer healing. It turns into a battle between you and the part of you are trying to cut off. And here are 8 common mistakes people make with no contact, and the one key absolutely needed for it to work. Mistake number 1, no contact often ends up being nothing more than just a disguised form of bargaining, which is a grief stage, using no contact as a silent hope. If you're going no contact, hoping that they will come back or change, you are actually more hooked than if you stayed in touch. And it's not healing. The bargaining stage is always an attempt to manipulate reality. In this case, with waiting, to delay facing the truth that things do not look the way you want them to. It's that logic of, if I just wait a little longer, maybe things will change. But that only traps you between fantasy and reality. Contact shows you who they are right now, not who you hope they'll become. No contact with hidden hope just leaves a blank space, and the way our minds work, it will always fill blank space with fantasies. What you really need is to face reality, not wasting your life waiting for it to rewrite itself. Mistake number 2, using no contact as a control tool. When you use no contact to raise the stakes, to create mystery, look more attractive, you're not really healing. You are trying to change the other person's choices. But deep down, what it does, it wires in the belief that your worth, just who you are, is not enough. And you have to manipulate to be chosen. Sure, it might work in the short term, but you will never feel secure in the relationship because that connection would be impossible without performing. Or at least you will feel this way. And deep down, you'll know that they didn't choose you. They chose the tactics. While what you want is connection without fear and where you feel enough. No contact in this case only makes it harder to reach. I created a guide to insecure attachment dynamics with a focus on dynamics with avoidant attachers, so closeness stops feeling rare, stops feeling fragile or easy to lose in your life, and starts feeling normal, something that you can expect, receive, relax in, and live inside. Rare closeness never turns into love. It only strengthens into dependency. And this guide changes that without ever having to guess again or feel like you are building relationships alone. The link is below. Mistake number 3, using no contact to punish yourself for being needy. Neediness is not a flaw. It's a signal that something inside you needs attention. For anxious attachers, those needs are often a mystery, like a crying baby that has not learned to talk yet, and you have to figure out what the baby is asking for and learn how to soothe it yourself. And if you don't, no contact becomes self punishment. Basically, it's shame pressed down in silence. But what you resist will always persist. Mistake number 4, seeing every text as breadcrumbing. That keeps you defensive. Assume an attack, even when the other person might just be clumsy, grieving, or honest. But it's also a mistake to treat any vague message as if it has real meaning. When someone offers emotion without direction or contact, without commitment or intention. So the balance is not to label everything as manipulation, because that keeps you heart closed and unable to discern. But don't treat anything less than a clear path forward as worth your attention or emotional energy. Instead, you can use this to practice to stop turning other people's feelings into a plan or taking responsibility for them. You can allow their feelings to exist without making them yours to fix. Mistake number 5, when no contact is just a trauma pattern replaying itself. Going for no contact without making sure that in your situation it is not the same trauma, just in disguise. And one of the reasons why no contact is so popular, because for many people, it is the same familiar pain that pretends to be the strength. And for some, it is a familiar escape strategy. Cutting off instead of learning how to face conflict or learning how to express needs or build boundaries. For anxious attachment, it is the same pain of inconsistency and uncertainty between what they want and what they get. And no contact is reenactment of trauma here. Mistake number 6. A lot of people confuse a strategy of no contact with what's really just the absence of relationship. Silence, they're stuck interpreting as meaning. Healthy no contact is an intentional boundary that is comfortable for both people involved. It's not a punishment. It's never meant to be an ambiguous pause full of projections. Both people agree on what they are doing, how long it will last, what the rules are, and when they'll check in to see if it's helping. It's meant to create safety and clarity and a sense of progress for both, not silence, where each person interprets it alone and most likely differently. Mistake number 7, not understanding what no contact really is. We are not withdrawing from the other person. We are withdrawing from the feelings that arise in that contact. And those feelings are tied to parts of ourselves that haven't been fully integrated yet. If you initiated no contact, the healing part is exploring which feelings and which parts of yourself are so hard to face. For example, avoidant attachers often feel helpless when they realize that closeness or relationships are important to them, and they confuse the influence of the other person with danger. If you're on the other side of no contact when someone else has cut it off, remember that they might not have the psychological resources to face their own feelings. Their psyche will use defense mechanisms, and they might truly believe the problem is only in you, or they might just avoid the feelings that come up with you. And this can trigger defenses in you too, like the need to control or influence what you can't really to control, to avoid your own feelings. The important part is to focus on what you can influence, finding ways to have your needs met without relying on them when they cannot do that. And one thing to remember, when we are the ones who initiate no contact, in other words, when we cut off the contact with our own feelings, we are also cutting our connection with our own desires, because feelings always point to our needs. And avoiding them means avoiding what truly matters to us. If you're going through no contact right now and this video resonated with you, or if you know someone who is, please share, like, subscribe, comment, and I see you in the next video.